It's now 5:30. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Paris City Council and declare it to be open. The first item will be the invocation given by Reverend Slaughter.
We all bow our heads. Oh, Eternal Father, we come at this particular time, Lord God, thanking you, first of all, for giving us grace and mercy once again this day. And dear Father, we thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come and have prayer with this council and your people, Lord God. We pray today that all things are well and done in your sight. Lord God, we pray for our leaders of this community, as well as our county and our country. Lord God, that you would lead, guide, and direct them in the way that you would have them go, that your will would be their will, Lord God, in this time and in this season, Lord God. And we ask, oh Heavenly Father, that all minds and hearts are clear today, that we might be with one accord with you, making the decisions, making the just and righteous decisions on these things that are coming before their court. Heavenly Father, we thank you on today, and we give you all the glory and honor and the praise. In Jesus Christ, we pray these prayers. Amen.
Amen. And I'd like to ask Mr. Jenkins to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now it's time to declare the Citizens Forum to be open. Will all people interested in making comments please come forward, sign in, and state your name and address. Also, we request that the comments be limited to approximately 2 minutes and not be too inflammatory toward any single individual.
My name's Michael Gladfelder. I live at 1345 Southeast 6th Street, Paris, Texas. Recently in the Paris Daily News, on Thursday edition, there is an article about the FBI possibly investigating Paris Economic Development Corporation. No one would comment on this. No one from Paris Economic Development Corporation, and no one from this governing body. May 1st, there was a forensic report on the accounting at Paris Economic Development Corporation. It was supposed to be due. It was supposed to arrive. We were supposed to know what's going on. It's not here. We don't have it. I understand there will be a meeting in mid-June from the accounting firm about the investigation, the accounting. Too many things for too long. This is an ongoing problem. They were business people in the Paris Economic Development Corporation, and they know that these reports are supposed to be here on time, the way a business is ran. That's my money, it's your money. I want to know what's going on. The taxpayer isn't happy, and some people are waffling. Give consideration to suspending any business that the Paris Economic Development Corporation does for a while. Give consideration to disbanding it and starting over with new membership. Enough has gone on. They're making fools out of the taxpayer, and they're making fools out of this governing body, and too many people are scratching backs, and it's time to stop. New players should be put on a new organization. Someone that doesn't share the golfing greens or a church pew or a fraternal organization with the politicians. I want to see business people on this board that are responsible. seriously consider this. No one around here is sure who tells who what to do, because last time a member was put on the PEDC board, 3 council members would not vote a voice for or against the nomination of this member. We weren't sure who's telling who to do anymore. Your credibility is at risk here. I hope you give good consideration to this. New board, new PEDC. Get rid of the old one.
Thank you, Mr. Gladfelder. Next.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, Janice, my name is David Neighbors. I am a member of the Lamar County Farm Bureau Board of Directors. I'm also a planning member of Region D Water Planning Group that represents this area. I come to you tonight to ask you at a future meeting of the City Council to put on the agenda possibility of passing a proclamation. Mr. Platt is my councilman. I have the full information with him this evening. Texas Farm Bureau has agencies in 240 of the Texas counties. We are in a fight with the Environmental Protection Agency and the Corps of Engineers. They are trying to change the Clean Waters Act and remove the term navigable from that act. That would give them authority over all water and make all waters of the United States. An example of what would have happened to the city of Paris this morning in that rain, all of the water that went down these streets and these gutters would have had to have been trapped in a reservoir owned by the city. That water would have had to have been purified before you could dump it into the creek. That's one example. No buildings without federal permits. Even if the city approved it, it would still require federal permits if the EPA wanted to do that. Now they're saying, oh, we're not going to do that now, but this act would give them the authority if they can remove that one word from the title. This affects the farmers, this affects the city, this affects the county. I made this same presentation to the county this morning. They're going to act on it at their next county commissioners court meeting. I have a copy of a proclamation that you're welcome to use. It was drawn up by the Farm Bureau. You don't have to use it. Just a simple, hey, we don't want this to happen. And if you don't want to worry with mailing it, let me have it and I'll mail it myself. But I will not be able to be here at the next city council meeting. I have a water conference that I have to be at in San Marcos. And I would request the city act on this because it affects all of us and it can be a very serious thing for all of us to have to put up with. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Mr. Strathern.
Good evening. My name is Bill Strathern. I live 4905 Trails End, Paris, Texas, 75462. I have 3 little things to say about the PEDC, and I'd like to start with the fact that, in my view, the current PEDC business model is obsolete and has been for a number of years. It started over 20 years ago and nothing has really changed since then. But in that regard, in order to fix something, you have to know what's wrong. And I think the current investigation will take many steps in that direction by telling us where we have to start with the PEDC. But I'm concerned that the PEDC and or the City Council will not share that knowledge with the citizens of Paris, along with what the first gentleman said tonight. So with that thought in mind, my friends and I have made a request today from the Attorney General's office to find out, to get an opinion as to whether an investigation paid by taxpayers' money can be handled in an executive session, either by the EDC or by the City Council. My view is no executive session, it should be public. But I will say this, I may be erring, and I will say along that same lines, to err looking for radical truth, or to err while you're trying to get radical transparency, is not a bad thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Joan Moore, and I reside at 3035 Oak Creek Drive in Paris. I'm speaking tonight because I am a concerned citizen, and my profession or place of employment has no bearing on my statements. I do not want my opinion or anything I state this evening to be linked to my job either verbally or in print. I telephoned Mayor Frierson on Friday, May 30th, and asked if I could address the City Council prior to any discussions on the agenda. I also telephoned Mr. Pickle and relayed my concerns to him, as I did Mayor Frierson. I called Dr. Grossnickel, my councilman, but did not receive a return call. This is what I wanted to say last Tuesday at the meeting. I have known many of you on this City Council for years, and I have always trusted your integrity and your honesty. I wanted to make sure that any and all of your decisions are based on what the community desires and not your own personal agendas. As I sat through the last meeting on June 3rd, I became appalled at the discussions taking place. I could not believe the questioning of Mrs. Clifford and the innuendos coming forward. After raising my hand twice, I stood up and stated that you, meaning the City Council, in my opinion, had problems, huge problems. I apologize if I was out of order last Tuesday evening. I began to leave the meeting, but as I stood on the other side of the room, I became even more disturbed and decided to see where the meeting was going. In my opinion, it seemed that some of you were more concerned about a written report rather than a possible FBI investigation going on about persons or actions of people in our community. As a tax-paying citizen, I feel it is my right to know of any possible wrongdoings or if things are to be cleared. I feel it is your responsibility as councilman to remain neutral and allow this audit investigation to continue to its conclusion, no matter what the outcome is, negative or positive. One example I feel of City Council neutrality is our past mayor wanted to create changes to Lake Crook. There were persons in our community who were totally against this, yet Dr. Hashmi allowed them to speak and voice their opinion. That, to me, is neutral. I encourage each and every one of you to stand on your honor and your integrity, and remember that you are in this position because you were elected, and it is the voice of the people that is paramount in our city and not anyone's individual agendas.
Thank you. Reverend Price.
My name is James Price. I live at 1230 Shiloh Parish, Texas. To the council, city manager, attorney, and city secretary, I believe it covers everyone. I come to ask you to do something about the pick up a tree limb from the ice storm. I know the city has a few people do a lot of work. I believe the city's doing the best it can. There's a very long list, but if someone gets near, things will get worse, and dry limb will be on the side of the road. So there's fire hazards. People will always do not put these cigarettes in the ashtrays. And there's lots of hazards, and will get tall with grass and dry, and there's a good chance also we can have West Nile virus hit us real hard this year. In Council District 1, 2, 3, and 5, being the worst in 400 and few. 67 are clean. These two council districts are not the city of Paris. Alleyways are overgrown, limbs are down, power lines are in danger of being knocked down. Like I said at the start, I feel most departments are doing the best they can with what they have got. But how can you tell us you want companies and business development to come in? We're talking about the whole city of Paris. I ask you, are you willing to listen to a few ideas I have as a homeowner, property owner, and taxpayer and citizen I have? I ask you now, meet with me and some few others. I would like to people of each district to have someone in meeting on 1 through 7 on the 14th of June at 2:30 at Leah Williams Park to come out. I do have an idea of what you and I could do. You and I, any suggestion would be greatly appreciated. Anyone who would like to see what I am talking about, call me. I believe most of you have my number, know where I live. If not, get in touch, I will give it to you. We can ride together on the city bus, your car, my truck. I ask you to get in touch with me this week. I said I will respect each of you. If by chance I should not hear from the whole city council by the next meeting, I will have other news outlets here, not just local news outlets. So I beg and ask you, the city council of Paris, let's keep others out of our business and come together. I have 2 minutes left, much we need to talk about and can do. And I thank you. Please have a blessed week.
Thank you, Reverend Price.
Denise Mosley. I live at 3915 Shannon Drive. I've been coming to council meetings now for about 2 months regularly. I am appalled at what I'm hearing from a lot of the council members. Starts back at 9/9/13 when Rebecca Clifford came forth and showed that there was a problem with PEDC. There was a lot of money spent. No one wanted to listen, well, not all, but some did not want to listen to her. Then Bill Stratham came up and he was tabled by Dr. Grossnickel and Matt Frierson. They did not want him to speak. Thank God we had other council members that overruled Dr. Grossnickel and Matt Frierson and allowed Bill Stratham to speak. And he did this on his own accord. He wasn't paid. He did lots of research and came out with the point that PEDC had spent 74% more than any other city around this area. That is significant. If somebody would have come in and spent 74% of my money, I would want to know who did it and where that money went to. And instead, I sat last time and saw Rebecca Clifford badgered to the point that I almost stood up and said, enough. I'm a woman going to defend another woman who's being badgered, and all she's done is showed the truth. And she's not being paid for it. She's doing it all on her own accord. And you, Mr. Pickle, were on her really bad, trying to suppress the truth. And then that brings it back to you when we left the meeting, when the women were talking about Hillcrest, of how they were flooding. And you happened to come out and the women engaged you in a conversation. Instead of being pleasant to those women, you were very disrespectful. You were so disrespectful that you were screaming and hurting my ears. And I asked you to lower your voice, that I was not accustomed to being screamed at. Then you started pointing your finger, and I said, I'm not accustomed to being pointed my finger at either. And you said, this is what I do when I'm angry. So these women are addressing that their house is being flooded. You were not concerned, and you were representing them. You were in their district. And you were not concerned about their issues. You were more concerned about a plot of land that a person had a right to sell than the women describing their homes being flooded. I expect more out of my council. And I'm tired of seeing this one-sided badgering. I want the truth. And surely you want the truth of where all that money went to. Rebecca has spent hours and hours and hours and has gotten no respect. When she stands up here for hours, it was 54 minutes last time, and all she got was badgering with no respect of thank you for all the time that you have spent studying and digging up all of this and turning it over. I mean, I can't believe that I'm listening to it. I can't believe I'm living in the United States, that a council would sit there and try to squander this. If it were not for Dr. Hashmi, Rebecca, Bill Stratham, Sue Lancaster, let's see, who else was on there? Mrs. Drake and John Wright. It would have not went forward. It would have been squashed, and we would have never known where that money was. In Paris, how can you imagine all that money going out the door and not wanting to know who spent it? I want to know where it went.
At the risk of incurring your wrath again,
Pardon?
At the risk of incurring your wrath, I think I'm going to have to cut you off. It's been going on a long time.
Thank you.
It's been inflammatory comments. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jane Hellberg, and I have to look at my address because I never use it.
Miss Jane, can I ask you to please bring the mic closer to you?
Oh, okay. You want to actually hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. 4237 Southeast Loop 286, Paris, Texas. That's my address. I'm here on a lighter note tonight to represent a program here in Paris, Texas that I hope is well supported, and we will do that here in a few minutes in the form of a proclamation. I am a cancer survivor. I have been for 30 years, and I've been blessed by God to be here. Based upon that, when I came to Paris, Texas, I looked for, which by the way, my husband tries to convince me he's brought me to paradise. So I'm working on it. No, just kidding. But anyway, the American Cancer Society Relay for Life is coming up here June the 27th through the 28th. I really would like to ask you all and citizens of Paris to look at the events that are going on here in the city to support the Cancer Society. Cancer Society supports medication. They support anything in research. The research in cancer now is phenomenal. The other thing that I would like to ask you to do is, and I know it's been brought to the chamber, and I hope it's been brought to you all as well. On the 21st of June this year, we're going to ask people to paint this town purple. And we'll be downtown asking the people in the square to decorate. And we ask people at home or on your businesses, put out a purple ribbon, put out a purple bowl, and say to people that live in this city that are surviving cancer that we're behind you 100%, and we're going forward to find a cure and beat this disease. God bless you all.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Banks?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. My name is Ray Banks. I live at 3450 Robin Road, Paris, Texas. I'm coming tonight to speak to, first of all, I want to congratulate Ms. Clifford on the work she has done. Now, I'm coming to my real reason for being here, though, is you're going to be setting water rates tonight. Last summer, you contracted, the city did, with Lamar County to furnish them water at 22 cents per 1,000 gallons if they drew the water from the plant. If they drew it from the distribution point in the city, they were to pay 84 cents per 1,000 gallons. All right. On May the 9th, I turned in a public information request. I requested the direct cost of pumping, treating, and distributing 1,000 gallons of water to a residence in the city of Paris. That was on May the 9th. May the 13th, I received a letter, or dated May the 13th. This letter responds to your request and so forth. We have reviewed our records, and we do not have a document responsive to your specific request. Now, last year after we did the Lamar County rate, I went home and took my water bills and I figured them. For each cubic foot, it's 7.48 gallons. So I calculated how many 1,000 gallons I used to determine what I was paying per 1,000 gallons. All right, my yard meter, which has no sewer and no sanitation on it, I am paying $3.39 per 1,000 gallons. And we're selling that water for 88 cents. How can we do that? In the rate request tonight, the way I understand it and the way I calculate it, and I may be wrong, but the base rate for a 3/4 inch meter will be $7.20 per 1,000 gallons. And the excess over the base will be $4.87 per 1,000 gallons. We're increasing our water rates when we told the public last May that we would not raise our water rates. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
can I ask him a question? Just
Yes,
can
Dr.
you
Ashby.
repeat your last portion where you said about $7.20? I want to just write it down, please.
Okay, the base rate for a 3/4 inch meter was $7.2058. The excess of base, or it's over the first 1,000 gallons or 200 gallons, over the first 200 cubic feet, it's called excess. That excess costs you $4.8796 per 1,000 gallons. And we're selling it for 84 cents. Thank you.
Dr. Mosley?
Dr. Robert Mosley, I live at 3915 Shannon Drive. I would just like many others.
Dr. Mosley?
Yes.
Mike, can we have the mic a little?
Is that better?
if you can come a little closer.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to request that this investigation be totally open to the public. And I think all of us are, if we came up here, you see how few are here, we are concerned.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in the public forum, citizens forum?
Good evening. My name is Janice Price. I live at 1230 Shallow Street. My first concern is about Westgate Apartment. Somebody, y'all need to come out there or make somebody do something about that. Last year, they kind of worked on it. Just kind of, to me, just make somebody just hush and they'd stop. It just growed up, weeds growed around it. Across the street between 7 Northwest, it's on Shallow Street between 7 Northwest and 9th Northwest. That land over there just look like a wilderness, like just snakes. It's the city need to come out there and cut that or get on somebody, whoever, on that land and make them take care of it. You know, I live on the west side of Paris. I know a lot of people think that's the post side of Paris. That's where I was born and raised. That's home. I love it. And we pay taxes over there too. And there where the track race to run there on 7 Northwest, where the hill going down there to Campbell Street. I think we need to try to get that taken care of, lower that hill, level it off, because it's a death trap going across and Campbell, across there 7th Street on the Campbell going up that hill. That is dangerous. And thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Anyone else wishing to speak? Again, the podium is open if anyone wishes to speak. If not, we'll close the citizens forum.
I have a request, and that is that when we discuss the water rates, we be allowed to ask Mr. Banks some more questions.
Yeah, it's a little difficult since the water study gives it in cubic feet and he's talking in gallons, but that's
He has
fine
a conversion.
if you want to
Okay.
call him. Yeah. All right, next item will be a proclamation proclaiming June 22nd and 28th of this year as Relay for Life Days. The proclamation is as follows. Whereas Relay for Life is the signature activity of the American Cancer Society and celebrates cancer survivors and caregivers, remembers loved ones lost to the disease, and empowers individuals and communities to fight back against cancer. And whereas money raised during Relay for Life in our community supports the American Cancer Society's mission of saving lives and creating a world with less cancer and more birthdays by helping people stay well, by helping people get well, by finding cures for cancer, and by fighting back. And whereas Relay for Life, the world's largest movement to end cancer, engaging 4 million people in 6,000 communities across 20 countries, helped fund more than $150 million in cancer research last year. This legacy funding pioneering research led to a 47th society-funded researcher winning the Nobel Prize, the highest accolade a scientist can reach. Now, therefore, I, Matt Frierson, by virtue of the authority vested in him as mayor of the city of Paris, Texas, do hereby proclaim June 27th and 28th, 2014 as Relay for Life Days in the city of Paris, and encourage the community to renew their commitment to support the research and education that focuses on fighting cancer and to participate in this anti-cancer campaign being held in our community. In testimony whereof Mayor Frierson set his hand and caused the city of seal of the city to be affixed by the city of Paris this 9th day of June 2014. Ms. Dickey is going to receive this. And now we come to the consent agenda. Do any of the members of the council wish to discuss or change anything on the consent agenda at this time?
No changes. I do have a question of Ms. Lancaster.
Yes.
Did you go to the last meeting? Can we get any other updates than what is already in the agenda?
Are you talking about number 5?
Yeah, no, D,
D?
6D.
Yes,
Airport
I
Airport.
did attend, yes.
Can you give us a quick update of anything else new transpired there?
Well, we talked pretty much about marketing, and there were some really good examples of things that we could do. And there's a packet that I'd like to duplicate and put in your hands, anybody who would like to have that, because it really showed some avenues that we hadn't addressed before and how we could market that particular property.
So we have progressed some further with
We
that?
have, and we had an opportunity, and I'm sorry to say we weren't ready to take advantage of it, and we're moving to have those things right available, like on the shelf. You could say, yes, we can pull this off and we can lease this land for a building. So we're working on things that are just ready to, when an opportunity hits, we're able to hit the ground running.
Okay. Thank you. What did you attend?
The airport advisory.
Also, for clarity, the item number 5, there was a meeting not held on May 21st. Therefore, there's no meetings of that meeting since it was canceled. Moving on, unless anyone has anything else, we can take a motion to
I'll
adopt
make a
the
motion.
consent agenda. Mayor Hashmi, seconded by Mr. Pickle. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we move on to the regular agenda. The first presentation, item number 7. Janice, you want to read that for us?
Certainly. Receive Paris Visitors and Convention Council on the Love Civic Center budget presentation from Melissa Cook.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good deal. I'm Melissa Cook, President of the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce. First of all, thank you guys so much for allowing me the opportunity to come out and speak to you for just a few minutes about our partners, the Love Civic Center and the Paris Visitors and Convention Council. I know that you guys received this report in your packets last Thursday, so we're not going to go through everything line by line because I believe that you people are more than capable of reading, but I will kind of hit some of the high points, hopefully answer some questions that you might have, and if not, I'll entertain questions at the end. First of all, we're going to talk about the impact of tourism, the budget, the economic impact study that we had done not too long ago, funded events by the VNCC, and then we'll talk about the Love Civic Center bookings and their budget. Just to give you kind of some figures on the direct impact of tourism in Lamar County in 2012, you can see that $69,700,000 were spent in Lamar County in 2012 on tourism. And of those, 730 jobs are directly related back to that. Now you can see our source is the Texas Economic Development and Tourism for the state of Texas. Next, we concentrate a little bit more on Lamar County itself, and we look at the visitor spending and how it has risen over the past few years. You can see that from 1996 to 2012, it has almost doubled, and from 2009 through 2012, we had a 19% increase in visitor spending. Okay, let's look a minute at the budget for the VNCC. You can see the motel tax, our income, trolley, and the events for a total income projected for October 14 through 15 of $571,000. If you move to the expenses for that, On the first page, you'll notice that we spend about $76,000 is in payroll expenses. We have retirement, we have the normal things that you would have, and nothing there is really out of the ordinary. On the next slide, you'll look at the monies that we give to different allocations. We spend $20,000 on advertising. We spend $30,000 directly promoting different events like softball tournaments, a few things that I'll go through in a minute. $17,000 is an arts allocation. $10,000 of that goes to the municipal band, and $7,000 of that goes to the Art Alliance. Then $3,500 we give to the Historic Museum. Different and sundry other events that we also fund as well. So we have a total income of $571,000, total expenses of $558,000, for a net ordinary income of $12,226 projected for October 14, September 15. Next, you'll notice some of the changes. Now, what I did is, if the figures didn't have any changes on them, I did not include them in these slides, but they're included in the totals. So, the biggest changes you'll see on the first page is for Trudy Paris income, and those simply come off of last year's totals. The budgets that we do are based off real figures. Next, on the next page, the biggest thing that you will see is that we made a significant increase in marketing. We have a new kind of a new direction that we want to take some things in, so we decided to put some more money into our marketing figures. The next page, you will see some money for Lamar County Days. That's a program that we do every other year in Austin. 2 years ago, those expenses were shared with the PEDC. We're not sure about that. If that doesn't happen, we will try and raise some funds to help make that happen. It's a really good program that we do. We feed about 1,200 people hamburgers, and we deliver some information to all of the legislators, and it's an awareness program just to keep them aware of Lamar County and what we have to offer. The next page, everything is pretty standard, and like I said, taken from last year's totals. Okay, let's move on to the economic impact study that we had conducted that we released the results a couple of months ago. This was conducted for us by the Department of Economics and Finance at Texas A&M Commerce. We had them look at Tour de Paris and the archery tournament for us in particular, since those are the two biggest ones that we spend money on. So the Tour de Paris is considered a one-day event. The event spending, as you can see, is $114,000. The ASA is considered a two-day event with an event spending of $1,109,000. Now, we would tell you that ASA is actually more than a two-day event because we have a lot of those shooters that come in and stay with us all week. But the majority of them are only here for the Friday, Saturday. But you can see those two events have a net spending of $1.2 million. We're very excited about that. That just shows you that money being well spent. The next page gives you just kind of something that we thought you might be interested in and where those participants come from. As you might imagine, most of them come from Texas, but as you can see, it's a pretty good cross-section of the United States. Now, on here, I noticed that they did not include Alaska, and they did not include Saskatchewan, Canada, and I know those people were there because I was there. We have a big board that we have them pin when they come in and register. But just kind of just something for your perusal, for you to understand where our participants come from.
And no one from Oklahoma came?
Apparently, Oklahoma. No, there were lots of people from Oklahoma. This was provided to us by the Mike Terrell, who is head of ASA. So I wasn't real convinced of all those numbers, but that was the figures that he gave us. Next, we'll talk about a few of the events that we fund, just kind of so you know how much we give and how many room nights they bring in. You can tell that square dancing is pretty big. We have 2 different square dance events that happen on that first night that bring in about 165 room nights. The next one, we do different things like basketball tournaments, the Mad Max run, anything where they're putting heads in beds. That's really, really big for us because that's where our money comes from, is from the hotel lodgings tax. The next one you will see on the Southwest Shootout, which is the archery tournament, in excess of 1,800 room nights. That is by far our biggest one, and we are always in search of the next big one. All right, let's move to the Love Civic Center. Something that I thought would be of interest to you is their rentals and the increase in rentals. You can see that from 2011 to 2013, we've had an increase of over 100% in rentals for Love Civic Center. Some people would probably argue to you that's because we raised our rates. It is true that we brought our rates in line with other civic centers, but we did extensive research on that before we did that. And we made sure that we were giving people quality product for what they were getting. So, as you can see, last year, $93,000, which is really, really good. So the budget for Love Civic Center for 14-15 is a total income projected of $305,000. Most of their money comes from, they get 42.875% of the hotel tax that comes in. That's a direct expenditure that we just make. The Civic Center or the Visitors and Convention Council immediately writes a check to the Civic Center for 42.875% of that. Going to their expenses, you see their payroll expenses, you see their communications, their day-to-day operations.
Do these figures roll into the VC&C budget?
No, they're totally separate. So the next page, you'll see the building maintenance. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute because that looks like a very healthy figure, and it is, and it's that way for a reason. So the total income for the Civic Center is $305 with a net total expenses of $286,000. So a net ordinary income of $18,000 for them. The biggest changes that you'll notice there is the change in the motel tax, which is directly tied back to figures that we get from, that Mr. Anderson gets from the state and that we get from him. And then you'll notice the next biggest thing, the only biggest thing that you should really concentrate on is the building maintenance expense, which is a hefty increase from $20,000 to $60,000. There are 22 air conditioning units in the Love Civic Center. Love Civic Center was built in 1994, which makes it 20 years old. Of those, 14 of those are still 1994 models. One is a 2003, one is a 2005, 3 are 2007, one is 2008, and one we just finished replacing about 2 weeks ago. So we have started, the problems and concerns are mounting with those air conditioning units. So we are starting to set aside some money and to put some money into replacing those. Right now we're looking at replacing 4 other ones. We have had some experts come in and do an assessment on all of those and tell us what the problems are, and we know how much it'll cost to repair those. So that's part of what the hefty increase in the maintenance repair budget for the Civic Center. We have several other, you might ask, where are we planning to go with the VNCC? We are in the process of forming 2 different committees. One is a special events search committee. That's the one that's looking for the next big archery tournament or whatever it might be, whether it's a bridge tournament, it doesn't matter. We're going to form a committee that's going to be going out and looking for those and looking to bring those to Paris. We're also forming a covered arena committee. I know that's been done several times, people have looked at it, but we really want to give this one some teeth. So we want to commission Texas A&M Commerce to do another study for us, a feasibility study on a covered arena. We'd like to put it out close to the Civic Center and tie those 2 together. Those 2 facilities combined with the memorial, the Veterans Memorial that's already out there, the Eiffel Tower, the pavilion, all the facilities that are already out there, we feel like it'll be a really good fit. So we're forming that committee to study the feasibility, or to commission Texas A&M Commerce to do another feasibility study for us. Okay, that's it really, really fast. I will entertain any questions if anybody has any.
How much that feasibility study gonna cost you?
We have commissioned, or we have budgeted $6,600. They really don't give us a figure. They just ask us to make a donation to their scholarship fund for what we think would be adequate.
What
Yeah.
type of,
Go ahead.
what type of events do you envision would go in this arena center, covered arena? Is it air conditioned? I mean,
We would hope so. We would hope that you could do concerts, you could do rodeos, you could do anything that you can imagine. You know, we hope that it would be a multi-purpose facility that could be very beneficial in helping us to also grow the hotel tax, grow sales tax, just be really good for the area as a whole.
Mr. Mayor, questions can I ask?
yes, absolutely.
I have a whole slew of questions, so bear with me. First of all, I want to acknowledge outstanding work by you and all others who are part of VNCC, of doing a really good job with all the events, etc., etc. However, I still have a bunch of questions. If we can go back to your original slides, I take it that you meant doubled, you said 2009 to 2012, it doubled to 69 million. You probably meant from 1996 to 2012 it doubled.
Yes, sir, I did.
Correct? And if I can ask Mr. Anderson a question on this, if these numbers are accurate, which is 69,700,000, there was sales tax collected on that? Is that, I mean, if we want to cross-check the numbers, the amount of sales tax, you got 2% or something, part of the sales tax, will that account for the 69,700,000?
I could investigate that, but I haven't had the opportunity. I didn't have this,
Okay.
ahead of time.
I would like to know if this number is accurate of 69,700,000 to see whether, because you can cross-check by seeing that you got 2% of all the sales tax, and if what you got equals to the amount of spending. You understand my question? Right. So that is my first question. My second question, Ms. Cook, is that if VNCC was a separate body, separate from Chamber of Commerce, will Chamber of Commerce financially be hurting in any way or form if VNCC was to be separated from Chamber of Commerce?
The VNC.
I'm not saying do it, this is just a question.
I understand. The Chamber of Commerce would probably take a minor hit financially, but we are positioning ourselves to be independent of any other monies from an organization. The big partnership that we get with the VNCC is, number one, they bring events and help Paris and help us to help Paris grow sales tax and grow hotel lodging tax. Now, the biggest thing that they get from us is they get the plethora of volunteers. The volunteers that come out and make those events happen are mostly chamber member volunteers. So it's a wonderful partnership.
But they are still residents of Paris and they would do it because it's done for the city of Paris.
You would hope so.
Okay. That was one question. The second question that I have is on your expenses and income. You showed one place that there was $12,000 saved and another place $18,000 saved, or the balance after expenses. What happens to that money?
The expenses that are the money that the...
After all the expenses you showed in one slide, there was 12,000 saved, in another slide, I think that was from the Love Civic Center, 18,000 saved.
Okay, you're talking about from both of them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because I wasn't following you.
Yeah.
What happens to those monies? Those go back into their general fund, and we pump those back into either events or into expenses to do repairs at the Civic Center. We're not just talking about air conditioning, although that is A lot, we're talking about hot water heaters and sprinkler systems and floors and.
Repairs or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, and if we can please go back to the slide where you showed the hotel and motel tax.
Yes, sir. Are you talking about for the VNCC or for the Civic Center?
For the Civic Center.
Okay.
It's not this slide. Oh, just a second, go back. Yes. You said that, if I wrote it right, 84.5% of the hotel motel tax is sent back
42.875.
42.875 to the
Yes,
Love
sir.
Civic Center.
Yes, sir.
What happens to the rest of the hotel motel tax?
That is in salaries, that is in overhead, that is in events. We pump that right back out.
Okay. Nothing, no part of it goes towards chamber?
Yes, sir. There is a management fee in there, if you will notice that. It's about,
$37,398.
right, but of the total budget, it is no, I'm looking at the wrong one. It is 11.2% of their total expenses.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
On VNCC, you have payroll expenses of roughly $84,000.
Yes.
Who does that cover?
That covers Becky Semple and Gina Crawford.
Okay. And then you've got the same amount under the Civic Center, and I take it that that covers Kim and Randy.
Correct.
Okay. So we've got payroll expenses. I'm confused at how we have payroll expenses for them to do a job, and then we're also paying about $53,000 in management fees for the chamber.
Those people are paid to do a job. They're not paid to manage I mean, I do the books. I take care, I run the board meetings. I spend a lot of my time working at both facilities, overseeing any kind of repairs that have to be done. They have to come through me. The events that happen for the VNCC, those two I oversee. It's an oversight thing.
What is the description of their jobs? Can you tell me quick?
Which particular job are you wanting a description of?
Kim and Randy.
Kim and Randy. Kim and Randy are the day-to-day people that go in and drag the tables out, drag the chairs out, turn the event around, make sure that the events are booked, make sure that the deposits are paid, and send that money to me, and I make sure that it is placed in the correct accounts. They don't do any of the accounting part of it. That's my responsibility.
Dr. Grossnickel, can I ask one more question?
Yes, of course.
So in other words, correct me if I'm wrong, there is, what your benefit to the chamber is about, what, $38,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything else that the chamber charges?
No, sir. Well, no, I would be misleading if I said that. We split a lot of the overhead cost. For instance, the electricity bill, the copy paper that comes in, we split a lot of the expenses 50-50. The building insurance, those kind of things, because they're occupying the same space that we are.
Okay.
Okay, so we're paying $53,000 for salaries, contracted salaries from the Civic Center, and $15,000 from the Civic Center, and $37,398 from VCNC.
Yes.
Okay. Whose salaries does that cover?
That covers the salaries for the time and the expenses that are put in from our side, from the chamber side. Judy and I spend a lot of time working on VNCC and Civic Center events.
Okay, how much time do y'all think you spend in a month?
I don't know that I could give you an actual figure on that, Edwin. It's a partnership. Becky works as hard on my stuff as I work on her stuff. it's a partnership that, I mean, those figures were established a long time before.
Well, and I understand, but if Becky's working on your stuff, aren't we sort of, isn't there a double dip in there somewhere then?
I don't know that I would call that a double dip. I mean, I could see where you might call it a double dip.
Well, I'm asking. I guess I'm concerned when I see 53,000 for contracted services and I only see 60,000 for maintenance. When I look at the parking lot more than anything else.
We had this whole parking lot discussion last year.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't here last year.
No. And the parking lot does. I mean, and the city was gracious enough last year after we had discussion about the parking lot to come in and do a lot of patching for us, because prior to that it was awful. But the Civic Center simply does not have the money to do that. Now we're working towards building some retained earnings to make sure that we can take care of repairs, but right now there's not that money there. And the Civic Center pays a $15,000 a year maintenance or management contract, so that's really not going to solve your parking lot problem at all.
Well, it's a start.
Well, true. But also the fact that we're showing a fund balance at the end of the year is a great start as well. As a matter of fact, we've increased, I mean, as you can see from the rentals, we've made an increase, and we are trying very hard to put that money to good use.
Oh, I agree. I'm not arguing any of that. I agree.
Anybody else?
Any other questions, councilmen? Okay, I guess if no one has any more questions, thank you very much, Ms. Cook, and appreciate it.
Are you going to take action? That's what...
This is not an action item.
Ah.
At least it's not listed as an action item.
Just a presentation.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Janice, next item.
Okay, number 8, discuss, conduct a public hearing, and act on a resolution authorizing the application for Justice Assistant Grant Program 2014 JAG 2014H2839 TXDJ, and authorizing an interlocal agreement with Lamar County.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, the Edward Byrne Memorial JAG program has been going on for a number of years. It funnels out some grant money, mostly used for equipment for local law enforcement agencies. We've been the recipient of this grant for about the past 7 or 8 years, I believe. This year, the amount is $12,883. That's split 50-50 between us and the Lamar County Sheriff's Office. Take any questions.
Do you have any anticipated uses this year for these funds?
You bet.
After they're separated?
The Sheriff's Office is buying some micro DVRs, a covert camera, a digital camera, and an in-car video system. We're using our share of the money for what's called a rescue phone, but it's actually a pretty complex hostage negotiation unit that does some recording, compatching calls and stuff like that for hostage negotiators.
Okay, that sounds good. Anyone have any questions?
We're not using ours for cameras in the vehicles?
No, sir.
Okay, I thought I saw that. Maybe that was...
That's the Sheriff's Office.
The Sheriff's,
is.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought I saw it somewhere. Okay,
Right.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, if there's no other questions.
Dr. Grossnickel, this is a public hearing.
Yes.
Right.
We need to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Something is wrong here. Because it does say, I'm not crazy, it says, this in which the city will retain 50% of the JAG funds to purchase digital video systems for frontline patrol vehicles.
For the Sheriff's Office.
what this is, in which the city will retain 50%.
The 50% of the grant we're paying on the.
Okay, I mean, I'm not arguing with what
No,
you're
I'm
going to
just-
speak with. I just, the way it sounds here, it's a typo. Because it doesn't mention the negotiating thing in there.
Okay.
We can correct that.
I mean, and that's, I'm not
Yeah,
arguing.
I see what
You
you're
see what I'm
saying.
saying?
Yes, sir.
That's why I thought that this was for video cameras for the,
Okay. I guess I'm on the
No.
wrong page. Are you looking at the interlocal agreement? Because I'm looking at the budget.
The actual
the
resolution.
resolution.
First
Oh, okay.
page.
I'm looking at the resolution, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the budget.
Okay, the resolution has in there that
Third
you're about
paragraph.
digital
Well, that's
camera.
wrong.
Okay, good, thank you.
I think we got
Sorry.
the county's resolutions.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Chief Hunley. So we are going to have a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor first of this resolution and application for a JAG grant? Chief
I would like to
Hunley?
speak in favor of it, sir.
I know you did, thank you. If there's not anyone else, is there anyone who would prefer that we not apply for this JAG grant? So no one is in opposition to it, so the public hearing was resolved in favor of it and closed. Next agenda
We
item.
just need to take a motion.
Oh, we have to take a motion, so.
Actually,
This is that.
oh, this act, okay, got it. I'll
So-
make a motion to approve.
And I'll
Okay.
second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Item number 9, receive presentation on planned expansion of the Red River Valley Veterans Memorial and provide direction to staff.
Mayor and Council, over the last few months, we've discussed this a couple of times, the Red River Valley Veterans Memorial that's there now and continuing to grow and activities out there. And about January, the group appeared before the council asking to lease an additional 1 acre. They've leased 1 acre next door to the Civic Center, the Love Civic Center, back a while ago. They wanted to double the size of that. And we've asked these gentlemen to come to you tonight to update you on where they are and what their plans are and what they want to do with that 1 acre. And of course, especially since we've got 2 new council members, so I'll turn it over to these guys.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Paris City Council. My name is George Wood. This is Doug Weiberg. Several months ago, as John stated, we came before and requested property to the east of the Red River Valley Veterans Memorial. We understood that that had been approved for a 99-year lease with the same terms as the memorial. We wanted to know if there's additional information that you need from us to get this process started. We wanted to begin planning and begin architectural work on this. Since our last presentation, we've installed our beautiful gates and sign at the entrance. We also have several working cameras inside and outside the memorial. In the next several months, we'll have all the Phase 1 and Phase 2 bollard lighting installed, and then we'll begin work on the irrigation. By the fourth quarter, we will have all the granite installed on the Ring of Honor, which is the concrete walls that are there now. We're going to install granite over those, blue pearl. So when completed, the outdoor memorial will be one of the biggest in the U.S. We want the city of Paris and the 5 counties represented, Lamar, Fannin, Delta, Red River, and Choctaw County in Oklahoma, to be proud of this memorial and to help us promote it so that each veteran can be represented in the memorial. We would also ask the city to add our website as a link to help promote it. Hopefully by early 2015, we will have our first bronze statue in place. It is a life-size soldier and war dog. We were given a large donation recently to sponsor the statue. We have 2 more identified for a total of 6 bronze statues. Next, I'd like to turn it over to Doug to speak about those statues.
You'll see on the back page, there is a statue of a soldier, and ours will be a Vietnam era soldier, and he'll have a war dog sitting next to him. And he'll be on a bigger granite plaque than that one is. The cost of that statue is right at $40,000, and we were donated $38,000 for it by actually one of our members, one of the crew members. The second picture you see of the statue is one that we will have in stage 3, and it'll be the statue of a medic taking care of a wounded soldier. There'll just be 2 people in there, but he'll be on a cot like that. And if you'll turn the page, you'll see a picture of a lady and her little child, and this lady is actually Sergeant Hoskins' wife and his child, and she will be sitting there looking up, and instead of holding a piece of paper, she'll have her hands crossed over a triangular flag that she was presented for her husband's death, and the little boy will be standing there by her knee looking up at her. I feel like this statue will be in the 60,000 range, and we're already working on ways to cut that price down and to get it done. And we're working on people who would help us sponsor that. And these people that do that, we'll put their name, you know, on the front of the granite plaque, so that people know that, you know, they helped us. Now, if you'll turn the page to the next, this is some of the ideas that we have for the second section, the area now that we're waiting to hear from the city about. We would like to have a fighter jet. All of ours will be up on whatever you would call that's up on. I have brain problem, I forget words, but anyway, it will not be on the ground where it can be tampered with at all. This cannon you see, that's a World War II cannon. I would hope that ours would be in a little better condition than that one. And if you turn again the next page, you'll see a Vietnam era helicopter, and you can see it's way up in the air on a post. And in recent years, the wars we've been in, that helicopter has been very, very important. The second airplane you see, that's a Korean version, and a fighter jet. So we're working real hard on it. I want you to know that every time I go out to the memorial to do something that needs to be done, I run into somebody who is just astounded at what we're doing. They cannot believe that a town the size of Paris and our area has built anything as awesome as this. Lots of people are questioning us so that they can do something the same. And that's one thing that I really am tickled about. People are looking up to our city, and they want to do the same thing for their veterans. I think that's a good thing, because if you'll all remember a few years back, there were a lot of people talking not very nice about Paris, and it's not that way anymore. Even Tyler is building is copied our plan, not exactly like ours, but they're building one in the same method that we're doing it, and it's been real good. I would answer any questions that anybody has.
Council, anyone? I have one question, Mr. Weiberg. Are the military, the equipment, the airplanes and the cannon ordnance, those things, are those generally donated by as decommissioned
Yes.
scrap?
They're usually donated by the government, and we also have a local fellow whose job is to transfer those, and he said that when that happens, he will transfer them for us for nothing. Okay. Now, the other main deal that you'll have down in this extra acre is a lot of walkways going through and around these aircraft and different things. And during our program up here, which I didn't get to watch, but there's going to be what we call a niche garden. Several times we have had veterans come to us and ask, could their, if they were cremated, could their remains be buried underneath their paver? This has happened just too many times. So what our niche garden will be a space for a cremated soldier and his spouse to be buried in a bronze door on a wall. And it's going to be really nice. It's going to be a whole lot less maintenance to upkeep than would a cemetery be. And it'll be a very quiet, peaceful place. I'm hoping that we'll have some kind of a water fountain in there just to make it even more peaceful. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, gentlemen, both of you. Appreciate all you're doing. It's a great cause, and I wish you well with your fundraising efforts.
Well, it's the people of Paris that keep us going. They really do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. James?
Don't we have to act on this?
Well, we just need the council to basically instruct the staff, and specifically in this case the city attorney, to go ahead and draft or complete drafting the lease documents to lease that additional 1 acre of land.
Does PJC have to, are they involved in approving this as well? Or should I just shut up?
Mr. Weiberg or Mr. Wood, have y'all had any conversations with the junior college about this expansion, or whether if they got any complaints or?
They're very much for it. As you know, PJC has memorials for veterans out there. They're building. I've been a problem.
I mean, it might be that when that land was donated by the junior college, Paris Junior College, to the city of Paris way back when, they might have said something in there about, for civic center uses. I'd have to go back and look. I just don't remember now. Long before my time. But
I just would recommend you might want to check on that. Don't ask me. Something back there.
I think when we got this started, I think they kind of blessed the deal, the junior college folks. So
I don't think they'll have a problem at all. It's just better in writing.
So I guess the consensus is that the council does wish the city attorney to proceed in executing the necessary lease documents and try to move this project forward. Do we need to take a vote on that?
I don't think it's a voting item.
No, I think by consensus, if that's your wish, then we can move forward with that. So
it's my wish.
Yes.
Okay. I think everyone's in agreement.
All right.
Okay. Now we're to the item 10, James.
Okay, discuss and act on an ordinance amending section 34-22B, water rates, section 34-23, ABC, sewer rates to reflect changes recommended by the 2014 Water and Sewer Rate Study.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, the city currently has treated water contracts with 4 of our industries. One of the requirements in those contracts is that we have an annual cost of service study for our water and sewer. That cost of service study establishes what the rates are for those contract customers under their contracts. And as a byproduct of that, it also determines what the rates should be for all other non-contract customers, whether they're residential, commercial, or other industries that don't actually have contracts. This is an important financial tool for us to help maintain the integrity of our water and sewer fund. The 2014 study has been completed, and it was delivered to you earlier. The contract rates go into effect automatically on June the 1st, and those rates were provided to industry back in May. I have Chris Eckroot with us tonight from NewGen Strategies and Solutions, who conducted the rate study, and he has a brief presentation to present to you tonight.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, Chris Eckroot with NewGen Strategies and Solutions. It's a privilege to be here with you this evening. Again, as Mr. Anderson said, I'm basically here to present a very brief overview of the study that has been conducted. This is the study that is conducted annually that does set the contract customer rates and then also produces an estimate of the retail rates based on the financial need of the city. Next slide. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Thank you. Just again, many of you have been through this process before, but to remind you, the contract customer rates are based on the most recently completed fiscal year. So we're looking at fiscal year 2012-13 expenditures to set the contract rates. For your retail customers, we set their rates based on the current budget, which is the adopted budget by the council, what council says the water and wastewater utility needs to operate. So that's based on 2013-2014 fiscal year budget. The last rate adjustments on your retail side that occurred, you made a water retail rate adjustment in June 2011, and there was a wastewater retail rate adjustment made in June 2012. So 3 years on water, 2 years on wastewater is where we're at this time. Next slide. When we're going in and setting rates, one thing we do is we go back and look at a rate maintenance policy that was established in 2010. Now, this is a ordinance that was adopted by council that sets benchmarks when we're looking at water and wastewater rates. There are 4 different metrics we look at through this process, and you see those on the screen and in the presentation. On the next slide, you'll see the status of where we are with that rate maintenance policy at this time. Right now, the interest and sinking fund and the contingency fund within that policy are fully funded. Where we are not fully funded is the reserve fund. The reserve fund right now is underfunded by approximately $1.45 million. Now, the city has 5 years to build up that funding back to the policy level, the rate maintenance policy level. We are estimating that the city will fund that reserve through the coverage requirements that are built into that rate maintenance policy. Right now, in a nutshell, your rates have to be sufficient. When you take your revenues less your O&M expenses, whatever is left over has to be 10% greater than your debt service payment. And so that generates an extra coverage requirement. We're estimating that the city will set that aside into the reserve fund that will be funded over the next 5 years. Now, it's our opinion it's important for the city to abide by this policy. This is a policy that the rating agencies look at annually, or when you issue debt, they're looking at that to determine what your bond rating is. Your bond rating guides what your borrowing cost is going to be. So the worse your bond rating, the higher your borrowing cost, the more risk you are as someone who takes out debt. And so for that reason alone, we think it's very important that you continue to follow this policy, because it could potentially cost you more in the long term if you don't follow this policy than by following this policy at this time. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. One of the key findings from the study this year is we go back every year and we look at how customers are using the system. Again, at a very high level, we want efficient customers. We want customers that their peak day, their peak use, is equal or close to their average use. When we look at your contract customers this year, they've been very efficient customers, and in some cases, their consumption has actually gone down. By decreasing their consumption, By increasing their efficiency of use, when we go through the cost allocation project or process that's in the contracts, it actually reduces the cost allocated to those customers. Now, you'll remember that when we set rates, we have a pie. We have a certain amount of revenue we need to hit. If somebody gets a smaller slice of that pie because they're a more efficient customer, somebody else gets a bigger slice of that pie. And what has happened this year is the contract customers, they're more efficient, their consumption in some cases has gone down, so the amount allocated to them has actually decreased somewhat. What that does, the byproduct of that, is your retail water and wastewater rates are insufficient at this time to fund that rate maintenance policy. Again, this is a result of those contract customer changes. We went back and reran the analysis and looked at, had everything stayed the same, had the contract customers used the system the same way they did in the prior year, then your retail rates would be sufficient at this time. So because of this change in how the system has been used, that is what is causing the retail rates to be insufficient right now. Now, what will happen in the future years, we don't know at this time. So next year we could be right back in this same position. The contract customers could be less efficient. Their consumption could be up. That could shift more cost responsibility over to them. So again, that's why we do this study on an annual basis. We're following the contract terms and looking at where costs should be allocated under that contract. On the screen right now, you see what we are proposing from this study to be the new residential water rates. At the top section there, you can see what the current residential water rates are. At the bottom, you see the proposed residential water rates. Taking the base charge, the 5/8 inch through 3/4 inch, or your average residential customer, taking their base charge from $905 to $1078, and then the excess of the volumetric charge from $306 to $365. On the next slide, you can see where we are on wastewater rates, what we're recommending there. The top, again, is the current residential wastewater rates, the bottom of the proposed, taking the base charge from $1181 to $1229, taking the volume charge from $478 to $498. The next slide, you can see what we're proposing for the commercial water rates. You can see their charges do vary by meter size, and that is carried through to the proposed base charge. And you can see also the change from the volumetric charge to the new volumetric charge. For a small commercial customer, taking them from $314 to $358, all others going from $257 to $293. Next slide. This is our proposed commercial wastewater rates. Again, you can see the current at the top, the proposed at the bottom. Taking the smallest commercial customer base charge from $1573 to $1637, the volume charge from $497 to $517. Now, we've looked at a lot of rates. Let's look at what does this mean to an average customer. When we're looking at an average residential customer, we're looking at 640 cubic feet of water, 565 cubic feet of billed sewer usage. Right now, that average residential customer would pay $55.36. We're proposing they go to $61.04 under the rates that you've previously seen. That's a monthly increase of $5.69. For an average commercial customer, right now, 630 cubic feet water, 630 cubic feet of billed sewer use. Their current monthly bill is $61.92. Proposing to take that to $66.89 for a monthly increase of $4.96. City councils often ask us, how do we compare to our neighbors? That's the comparison you see on the screen right now. Let me caution you, though. Anytime you're doing a comparison like this is not apples to apples. Every city is different. Every city has different funding sources. They have different water sources, different wastewater treatment options. And so this is not an apples to apples comparison that you're looking at. But right now, again, on the water side, you would see this is assuming 5,000 gallons and using Texas Municipal League data. A 5,000 gallon water customer in Paris would be at $23.37. We're proposing to take that to $27.86, which puts you about in the middle of this comparison group. On the sewer side, a 5,000 gallon average customer right now on sewer would pay $34.18, proposing to take that to $35.60. The far right-hand column is the total monthly charge for a 5,000 gallon customer. Currently, they're $57.55, proposing to take that to $63.46. And with that, I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
Go ahead, Mayor Host.
You heard what Mr. Banks said.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to answer his question?
At this time, I do not have the figures on the per 1,000-gallon distribution charge and transmission charge and production charge. If the city requests, I can go back and develop those numbers, but I don't have those numbers to respond to that point at this time.
However, he is right in saying the charge will go up. Whatever your reasons may be, and you may have very good reasons for that, but the charge is going up.
The retail charge?
Yeah, retail charge.
I am proposing that there be a retail rate increase, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, my question, is Mr. Anderson still here? Yes. Oh, there he is, sorry. Mr. Anderson, according to Mr. Banks' calculations, why are we selling the water cheaper to Lamar County? Why can't we raise the sale price of water to Lamar County? Can we do that or not?
No, you can't.
Okay.
We have a contract with Lamar County Water Supply that stipulates how their rates are calculated. He did point out one thing, that the price of their water that they take at the treatment plant, which is where their meter is located and where they take it and pump it from there. And it should, I think be obvious, whether we have an engineering background or not, that water taken at the plant that doesn't go through the distribution system should cost much less to provide because it's taken right at the source where it's treated. Mr. Banks' house, for example, is located, in East Paris, so that water leaves the plant and has to be pumped all the way through the distribution system to get to his house, and there are a lot of costs associated with getting it through that distribution system. So it's logical that his cost of water is going to be more than Lamar County Water Supply because simply it goes through more of the system, and he uses more of the system, than they do.
But Lamar County also has to have it also distributes to far and wide areas. Excuse my ignorance on this, but how do you,
Those aren't our expenses. Those are borne directly by Lamar County Water Supply. If they take water at the plant, and they have to have the means of pumping from the point where they take it at the plant to get it to their system. Those are costs to them and not to us.
If I can also address a couple points there as to why that difference exists. There are several reasons. One, we're looking at different years, different costs. As I said before, we're using actual expenditures versus budgeted expenditures for retail. So there's one reason. The other reason is you have to look at the efficiency of the customer. When you're looking at the distribution point for Lamar County, we're looking at how efficient of a customer they are. Right now, they are a more efficient customer than the city's retail customer class. And so, as such, there's less cost responsibility allocated to Lamar County because of that factor. Again, it's comparing one customer versus a whole class of customers.
And Mr. Anderson, why can't that contract be renegotiated?
Well, you can always approach them about renegotiating the contract, but
because we are penalizing
they're a volume wholesale customer, Lamar County Water Supply is. They buy millions and millions of gallons. It's just like any other product. If you buy quantity of it, you're going to get a better price than somebody who buys on the retail level.
But Mr. Anderson, if you consider all the retail buyers of the city, they can be taken as one customer because they're all residents of the city and they're all buying water from us.
Well, and we look at them as a class in the study, not just individual. We don't set an individual rate for every household. We set it as a class of customers. So we're already taking that into consideration.
And number two, why can't the commercial rates be raised and the homeowners who are getting water, why can't their rates be kept the same or reduced while the commercial rates be increased to cover the difference? I mean, you're trying to accumulate funds and you're going to try to keep good bond rating, which I understand completely. But why the homeowners? Why not commercial?
Okay. Well, the ideal way to set rates is to let whatever customer class is causing the expense pay for that expense. Okay, that's why Lamar County Water Supply, because they have less expense to us because they take it to plant, their rates is always going to be better. Now, the other thing we have to be concerned about is if we set a rate that's arbitrary, that's not based on actual reality, but it's artificially manipulated in some form or fashion, those rates could be appealed to the State Railroad Commission, which could rule against us, in how we set our rates. Used to, cities would arbitrarily set the rates hither and thither, however they wanted to set them. And that hadn't been the case in some years now because of that, because contract customers and other customers, they wanted it based on actual numbers rather than just the whim of the council and what was ever politically expedient.
Please go back to your last slide with comparison from different cities. And I understand completely that different cities have different population, different ways of getting water, etc., etc. But Mount Pleasant at 19 cents, $19.70 compared to Paris at $27.86 when our population is bigger. Explain to me.
Well, you could be in very different points in terms of where your capital improvement program is. Right now you are under an aggressive capital improvement program. They may not be under such programs. You may be spending more in those terms. They may be actually transferring funds from their general fund to their water and sewer fund to subsidize or keep rates low.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Don't we transfer some of our water fund into the general fund?
We do transfer an administrative charge over there for services provided by department heads of the manager and the attorney.
If that fund was to be decreased, will that avoid the rise in rate?
Again, if I can speak to that right quick. With your rate maintenance policy, your rates have to be set at a certain level to hit that 1.1 times coverage requirement. Just because you move dollars out, you're still going to have that. You're still going to have to generate those dollars in the rates to hit that policy. So yes, you could not spend as much in your general fund, but you still have to increase your rates to make sure that your revenues, less O&M expenses, are 10% greater than your debt service.
But if you have avoided those expenses, does that not count towards the can you not have that saved in the money in that 1.5 million that you're trying to accumulate?
Okay.
I'm not trying to give a hard time. I need a clear understanding of it.
If you transferred less money to the general fund, we had a council, 2004, 2003, somewhere in there, that actually did that and voted, amended the budget to reduce that. And what happened, that didn't lower residential and commercial rates. It actually caused them to go up because most of that administrative charge ends up getting allocated to industry. Okay, so all we did was succeed in lower industry rates even more, and it again was offset by residential and commercial rates. Just from the way the cost is allocated, that's how it's going to come out. So the very next year, when the council saw the results in the next rate study, what the practical effect was, they reversed that, and added that money back in the transfer.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Grosnick.
Go ahead. And do you know when the contract with Lamar County Water expires?
That was negotiated, new contract was negotiated when Tony Williams was manager. So it's way out there, probably 25 years, and I think they have options to extend it.
Okay,
well.
so it's a long-term
contract.
Okay. Well,
and it's a much better contract than the one we had. It was done in the 60s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Grossnickel, Mr. Banks is raising his hand. If you have with your permission.
If it's okay, I'd like to ask a question, if that's all right with you. Why it does seem like that the private industries are getting the special treatment, which perhaps in some respects they should, but it does make the citizens feel like they're getting let out of it. Nobody, I guess, really sees the contracts or knows how these rates are determined for the industries as opposed to how it's determined for them. It seems like they're having to pick up the slack, and I understood what you said about the customers becoming more efficient, losing less water and less wasting and perhaps usage of it. So is there anything we can do to raise any of those contract rates?
Well, you can always try to renegotiate a contract, but, you know, it's two parties involved. And you're not going to find too many of those industries that we're going to want to raise their rates, because what they're going to come back and say, you know, you're going to make us less efficient. You know, Campbell Soup would say we're competing against other Campbell Soup plants. And if you raise our water cost, you're going to make us less competitive, and, you know, maybe we're the next plant that gets closed. That's the argument that you're going to get. When those contracts are negotiated, one of the factors that the council considers, you know, before it approves them, is you want to attract and retain industry in Paris for all the jobs that they produce. You know, and if you cost shift it enough to make it unprofitable for them to be here, well, they'll go somewhere else. Then you'll lose those jobs, and you still got basically the same infrastructure cost. Now it's going to be allocated over fewer units, and prices are going to go up. So,
if I can also
Okay.
address your point, you said that industry is getting a break, or they're getting an advantage. We do this study every year to set cost-based rates. Industry is paying the cost that they have incurred throughout this process. We use industry standard methodologies promulgated by the American Water Works Association, the Water Environment Federation, which have also been adopted by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. This is not done in a vacuum. This is a study that is done on an annual basis. The study is, you've all received copies of the study. The numbers are what the numbers are. This helps to prevent conflict, because you can actually go in and tie the numbers back to exactly where they came from. So I would not characterize it that industry is getting a break. They are paying the cost. They are paying a cost-based rate determined by a standard industry standard methodology.
And that varies from individual class.
That varies from individual to individual. That's correct. That's
Okay.
exactly correct.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Just, help me understand the last change you said was in 2012.
Yes, sir.
That correct?
For wastewater, it was 2011 for water.
2011.
Yes, sir.
It seems to me like with Skinner moving in, it seems like there'd be more water consumption. You're telling us that it's reverse, but they're not.
What I'm telling you is that you've got two industries that have reduced their water consumption. You've got one that has increased in terms of your contract customers, those that actually have a contract with the city.
Does Skinner does not have a contract?
No, sir.
no,
Okay.
they pay
But they were
standard
one of
commercial
the
rates.
heaviest wastewater users, correct?
They
I
will
was
be
told
once
that.
they get up and fully running. Sarah Lee was.
So there could be an increase in revenue on the wastewater
There-
side from
There will be
Skinner
unless
Bakery.
they do some sort of pre-treatment process, which is always a possibility. We would get more of a wastewater surcharge. And one of the things that's in this ordinance is an adjustment to those surcharge rates also. So that, you know, if they do start hammering the sewer side system with increased waste, then they will in turn be paying for it directly.
Okay, thank you.
Has Daisy Dairy, or have they gotten even close to their amount of usage that they anticipate?
They're increasing. They're not there yet. Even if they were there yet, under the agreement that was done at the time, you know, they've got a rate established, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, you've read the contract probably since I have. They've got a fixed rate for the first, actually 10 years. After 5 years, if they're below providing what it actually costs, what the actual cost of service is, then if they meet all of their incentive requirements for the incentive agreement that PEDC worked out with them, then PEDC basically subsidizes it from year
right.
5 through year 10.
Right.
And then after year 10, they're on their own.
They're on
They
their own.
actually have to pay what the cost of service study says they're supposed to pay.
Because wasn't it originally anticipated to be up to $1 million gallons a day? And they're not, do you have any idea what they are at now?
Not
Off the top of my head, no.
I mean, this says 191,062, and I don't really know if that means a day, or,
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm looking at apples and oranges. Well, that's a dollar amount anyway, so.
Right, right. Let's see if I've actually got that number. I may not, since their rate is fixed right now.
Okay, well, I know that was sort of the hope that that would sort of offset some of the,
I have right now that they are 159 million gallons a year right now. I don't have their demand number, I just have their total. So, and they have ramped up substantially. They've had a 60% increase in water consumption since last year. So I anticipate that is going to continue to ramp up. So, but the 1 MGD, the one that you're talking about there, that was actually their demand. That would be their peak demand that they would be paying for.
Okay.
That's correct. So.
Okay, Mayor Hashmi, if you want to, or once Mr. Plott asks, if you want to then question Mr. Banks.
If it's your permission?
Yes.
They mentioned drawing water from the plant out there in Lamar County. There was two prices in that contract. One was for drawing water from the plant out there at 22 cents per 1,000 gallons. The other one was for drawing water from the distribution system, which is where I get my water, at 84 cents per 1,000 gallons. Also, to clarify, they said the rate increase, this is what was on the slide tonight, the rate increase is due to a reduction of consumption by the contract customers. In other words, we have had to build these plants in order to be able to meet the demands of these industries. Now they're reducing their consumption, and we've still got that to pay for. All right, the other one says contract customers are based on actual expenditures. Residential customers are based on the budget, which is the budget is something the city staff comes up with.
As far as the budget to actual, there's not a big difference in those two numbers. As y'all know from looking at, when you get your September financial report and we look at budget to actual, those numbers are fairly close every year, so there's not much distortion from that standpoint.
well, I mean, basically, we've got a number we have to hit. And we either hit it, we've got to hit it through the commercial rates and the retail rates. And we've already got a contract that says what we have to do with the commercial rates.
Well, with those industries.
Those industries,
yeah.
right. And but the commercial rates, other commercial rates will go up as well. Like I've got commercial on my rental or my strips. It's going to go up, right? Yeah. So it's not just the residential that's going to get hit. It's commercial. We're all in this together.
I have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
Back when I was on the council, me and you had a big discussion about TOCO. And at that time, you told me, at that time, they're paying a lot cheaper rate than what the citizens, of what people in Paris are. Is it still that way?
Probably, no, the answer is no. I'm trying to think how many years ago we went in and did a new contract to address that issue. And as I recall the terms of that, they can't pay less than what a citizen of Paris would have to pay. That's kind of a condition of that contract to, fix that situation.
Do they get their water from Lamar County Water or from?
No.
Do they get it from the city?
They don't get their water from the city.
They don't?
No, we treat their sewer.
Oh, okay. Could we negotiate water rates with like Reno?
Back when I was interim manager in 2011, we were approached by Reno about that. And of course, they have an existing contract with Lamar County Water Supply. And I think there's some legal action going back and forth on that now. Reno stated that they thought that they could get out of their contract, and we kind of gave them a basic idea that if they were able to do that, here's kind of what a contract would look like. And it was a kind of a standard two-rate type contract like we have with the industries, where there's a base amount to cover for infrastructure and then a volumetric rate on top of that. And we looked at it to try to determine would the city actually make more money by being able to do that? And if we couldn't do that, then why go to the trouble? And the preliminary indications were that we thought that we could increase our profit by doing that, but that's very preliminary. And at this point, Reno is still under contract with Lamar County Water Supply, and we haven't really discussed that, in some months now.
Well, I would like for us, and it's in regards to this whole thing, maybe start some discussions with Reno as well. Because they also have a wastewater treatment plant over there, and we're looking at trying to figure out something with the airport. It might be cheaper to work out a deal with them versus laying $5.5 million worth of pipe to pursue that, right? Because I've been talking to them off and on for 4 years, and I know that city officials at Reno, as recently as last night, were told by Lamar Water that they could go ahead and negotiate with all that they wanted to. The issue was going to be Lamar County Water with the city of Paris. And so I think that's maybe some things that we can perhaps look at because there are lots of areas also between Paris and Reno that are in the twilight zone as who's providing them water and who's not. And we could perhaps look at some options on that and maybe let them do them a favor by reducing their costs and do us a favor by reducing our costs.
Dr. Krosnickel, can I address this?
Yes.
There is a problem with what you're saying, Mr. Pickle. Because the thing is, in the long run, if the city of Reno has a problem with their water or sewer system, and we are part of that, we become legally responsible. So,
well, I'm not sure I agree with that. If
well, you may not agree with that, but it has been studied. I looked at it last year.
If we're a customer and only a customer, I'm not sure it's a problem.
Well,
that's where I want to go with that.
I would relook legally what our legal standing is.
That's all I'm asking them to do, is look at that.
Okay, so, yes, Mr. Plata.
One more thing. Mr. Banks brought up a point. Actually, these rates stuff, you have to take in enough revenue to satisfy the budget that was set for the water, for the treatment plant and stuff out there, right?
Yeah, it's budget and any known and measurable things that we know are coming can also be factored into that if there are any such things.
Mr. Jenkins or Ms. Lancaster, do y'all have any questions you want to ask at this time?
I have no questions.
Not at this time, but there is some discussion that the water at the airport and the way the sewer is going to be handled will not need a sewer system per se. We're working on perhaps a septic system.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that hooking onto Reno would help us out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess, gentlemen, if it may be time that we have to vote whether we want to or not, but we do have an ordinance that tells us we have to hit revenue target and replenish that. And that we can always hope that maybe these rates could be reduced if things change next year, but this company does their rate adjustment every year, and it's apparent that we may need to have a motion that we accept it. And
I myself would like to make a motion to table this till I haven't got a chance to look at this budget, and I would like to look at it. If we're going to base our rates off of that, I'd like to look at the budget, see if there's anything. I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at the budget because who knows? I may think they're spending way too much on something. I may have a lot of questions there.
Okay.
Could we? I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Is there any logistical reason why that would induce harm?
If that's what the council wants to do, there's no technical issue with doing that if we want to do that.
Okay. We have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Pickle. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to show of hands?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. So on to item 11.
Ratify hiring of new Public Works Director.
Hopefully an easier, less painful thing to talk about. Our Public Works Director position has been vacant for a bit over a year. Jerry McDaniel is here. And just to be really quick, I'm presenting him as our Public Works Director. The charter does require that you confirm his appointment. And Jerry is here. Wave, Jerry. Stand up, Jerry. And he knows how to obey orders already. And so if you have questions for him or just want to say hello and vote yes, then that'll be fine too.
I have questions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I think it's the city manager's right to appoint whoever he thinks is appropriate and who he thinks can work best with him. So I'm all in favor of supporting whatever Mr. Godwin says. However, what I would like to go back is I'd like to see the job description that was posted in the paper for this position.
I don't have that on me.
Okay, well, therein lies a little problem.
Okay.
Because what the job description that was posted in the paper is different and requires different qualifications than the bio that you have sent on the person that you like.
Right.
And it does not qualify. And I want to be sure that legally we do not get into a bind, because it certainly eliminated people from applying for that job who may not have had all those qualifications. So either we need to correct that job description and then hire him, or we need some sort of correction there, because what I feel we become legally liable is that you posted a certain job description, and when you've posted, certain people got eliminated, then you hire somebody who doesn't have all those descriptions that you wanted. They can come back and say, well, you know what? You hired somebody that is not in the job description that you wrote.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not against him. I'm perfectly fine with him, but I think the job description needs to be reposted and corrected unless the city attorney feels that there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, and I'll let Ken address that, but I'd like to first. It's not at all uncommon, and it's generally accepted, HR practices that you often hire somebody based on experience and skills in replacement for education. For example, a lot of jobs, you expect a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, a certain educational level. But if somebody's got 100 years of experience, all of a sudden that college degree is not so important. And I'm not saying he's got 100 years experience. But that's very common to substitute experience, knowledges, specific skills for specific years of experience or specific educational requirements. That's not unusual in this regard. We didn't reject anybody that applied for the job based on those qualifications. If we had somebody who applied for the job and we felt like the total person, based on all their skills, knowledge, abilities, education, training, et cetera, would do a good job, would do for the city of Paris, then we pursued that person and we interviewed those persons. There were other people that we interviewed that did not meet all of the minimum qualifications or all the advertisements either. And again, that's not at all unusual for people to do that. And if we could go back and post it again and start the whole process over. We actually advertised beginning back in February, I believe. So it's taken us a while to, maybe it was March, probably March. It's taken us a while to get to this point, so I really hate to delay the process any further.
And I have no problem with it, but I just want to be sure that legally it's not an
I
issue.
understand.
My thoughts would be to take that portion off the job description. If you like the gentleman, that's just fine with me. But I don't want to encounter a situation that after the fact somebody says that, you know what your job description was or what your ad was not according to who you hired. And if
Legally, are we in trouble, or?
I'm not, first of all, I'm not sure I understand what the difference was between the job description and the posting, so that's, I'm kind of in
Well,
the
that's
dark
why
there.
we need the job description.
The major difference is college, a bachelor's degree.
Okay. And this, Mr. McDaniel here meets that qualification?
Does
or-
not. But we substituted years of experience for that. So again, experience for education is a pretty common thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've certainly never heard of that being challenged in my 28 years. So.
I
I
thought that we were just really that's your job, is to hire that person, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to tell you how to do your job.
Jackson, how many years experience do you have?
100?
I hold a master's plumbing license, a water, a wastewater license, a BPAT, which is a backflow license, a customer service license, a driver's license.
And Mr. McDaniel, please don't take it from me that I'm opposed to you. By no means I'm not opposed to you. You may be a fine individual. I just want to be sure that legally we are on good grounds. And I have no, as I said, I personally have no issue him being hired. Just change the job description and then hire him.
No. I want to ask. Can I ask him a question?
Absolutely.
Aren't you the acting director at Greenville right now?
I am filling in, our director moved in to the city manager's spot. I'm superintendent of engineering and acting.
How many years have you done that?
In Greenville, 1 year.
One.
Have you done in other cities?
I was assistant public works director, city of Commerce back in the 80s, early 90s.
So are you wanting to move up to city manager also?
Okay.
If I remember right, I know Ms. Drake was very concerned with getting this position filled, and we've already, as Mr. Godwin said, spent a lot of time sifting through the few qualified applicants that there are. So I would say we could take a motion to act on the hiring of the new Public Works Director and go ahead and ratify it.
Can I
Or
ask
not
a
if you're
question?
not. Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to move here?
Yes.
Good.
The start date is the 23rd, and I'll be evaluating next week.
So
How do we ratify it?
You need to vote to approve.
Right.
Or not.
I'll make a motion that we ratify hiring the new city manager as presented.
I would just add that I believe the city manager did interview other people that did not have, besides Mr. McDaniel, that didn't have college degrees. He interviewed others besides just this one for the Public Works Director position. So I don't know how the mix-up happened with HR or whatever, but I don't necessarily think that's a bar to you all approving or blessing his hiring of this man.
I made my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Plata. All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to oppose it, not because of the gentleman, but just because of the thing that I said. And again, please don't take it wrong from me. Nothing against you. I can do this too. I'm pretty good at it. Yeah.
Okay, next agenda item, number 12.
Discuss and act on a contract with Kim Lacey to provide administrative services for the Texas Capital Fund Sidewalk Replacement Project.
Good evening. What you have before you tonight, actually, their next two items will both cover. One covers the administrative professional services contract for our next sidewalk replacement project, and the second one will be for engineering services for that same sidewalk project. As you know, we're applied for the sidewalk grant back in September of last year. We found out earlier this year we'd received that grant, and we have sent out notices to admin firms, engineering firms, posted the Parish News, sent it out to several firms, and you only got one response back for the admin. We got two responses back for engineering, and on the admin side, we have selected Ms. Kim Lacey, who since her regret she could not be here tonight, prior engagement, but that amount would be an amount of $15,000, and I've kind of listed in your briefing memo kind of what is some of the things that are in that services or what is listed out of that. The total grant amount is $150,000, which is the maximum. The city did apply a 30% match to that in order to get more points to try to get that grant, which we were successful in getting, which brings that project total to $195,000, and it does include the professional services within that $195,000, as well as city purchasing the street lights for that. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, can I ask one
You
question?
can ask anything.
No, I just want to ask a question. and I don't know if it's to go with this one or the next one, so I may be asking for the,
All right.
when
kinda
they do
lumped
the
them together.
design work, are they going to not necessarily do it, but make it easier, so if at some point down the road, the city decides to bury more electric and cable lines and all that, they can do that?
This particular phase, that is not taking into account what you're probably addressing would be the installation of conduit underground.
Mhm.
That is not addressed here in this particular case. I'm trying to think, some of the areas have basements which preclude you from doing anything such like that because you typically want them right under the sidewalk.
Mhm.
But when you have a basement there, and a lot of times the basement came right out to the edge of the sidewalk. I know the old Capital One building bank downtown comes out on both frontages, on First Street and on Bottom Street. So that's not possible in some areas. Our last project, we had one basement, only had one basement we had to work around, but it did not come all the way out. So we had a little bit of leeway there. But to answer your question, Edwin, no, that was not taken into account because the money was not here to put conduit in the ground.
Okay, so it's sort of too late to ask that it be looked at, considered?
Yes, sir, at this point.
Or y'all blew it? Okay.
I mentioned the 4 areas that you see here on your screen, both sides of South Main Street, those remaining areas. One thing that TxDOT did do for us is, when they came in to town about a year and a half ago, they did replace some nearly 400 ADA curb ramps. And I believe with this area, we're only going to have to do one, and that is over by the theater, on the back side of the theater where you have the steps, I think. Go to the last one, John. There it is. You can kind of see the steps and the handicap ramp. That'll be the only one that we have to replace with this project, and that's at the back of the theater.
Okay, Mayor
I made the
Hushman
motion.
made the motion.
Yes.
To accept. Second, Ms. Lancaster, second. All in favor? Aye. And I guess the same should be done on the engineering side, item 13. Do you want to read that, Janice?
Certainly. Discuss and act on a contract with Burkhoff, Hendricks, and Carter to provide engineering services for the Texas Capital Fund sidewalk replacement project.
The engineer for that, Derek Cheney and Brandon Cheney, are actually here tonight. And Mr. Derek Cheney representing Burkhoff, Hendricks, and Carter, and Mr. Brandon Cheney representing Cheney Engineering, who will be as a part of a local sub to this contract, providing the engineering for the project and a local representative for that. So we did kind of get a dual thing, and they had to be father and son too, which is a unique thing for Parish. But we did negotiate a contract back and forth with Mr. Cheney, with Mr. Derek Cheney, and the price before you tonight is $24,300, and it lists out what services will be provided for that amount, that fee. You have any questions on the engineering side?
You mentioned there were 2 candidates, and you selected this one. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir. We had Hayter Engineering and Burkhoff, Hendricks, and Carter, with Cheney Engineering being a sub to that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Lancaster, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 14, convene into executive session pursuant to Section 551072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Pursuant to Section 551071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney to receive legal advice from the city attorney about pending or contemplating litigation or on matters in which the duty of an attorney to his client under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicted with this chapter as follows: Member Trends Magazine versus City of Paris. Pursuant to Section 551074 of the Texas Government Code of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee as follows: City Attorney. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, will you state the time, please?
The time is 7:35. All right. The Paris City Council is now reconvening into open session at 9:03. The closed session ended at 9:02. We're ready to discuss item number 16, Janice?
No, 15.
15.
Take action on those, any matters discussed in the
Okay.
executive session.
On the matters discussed in open session, executive session. The city has,
Wait, don't you need to do the other one first, the land
Okay.
deal?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
the lawsuit one.
right, well, that's number 16. Well, there's a,
No, we gotta do 15 first. Do you want me to report on the lawsuit? Just save you the time.
no, I'm good. The city has won the Boomer Trends lawsuit pursuant to the building located at 260 South Main, and the Building and Standards Commission order of demolition has been upheld by the district court. And Kent, do you have any other?
The plaintiff in the case has filed a motion for new trial. The trial court will rule on that within 30 days. But we've won so far. City's prevailed on all issues.
And now, in regards to the city attorney, he has requested that he be able to recuse himself from any further representation of the PEDC board while this outside investigation continues. He will continue to represent the city of Paris pursuant to the Paris City Charter.
Do we need a, I'll make that motion. If there is a motion required on it. Is there a motion required?
I guess you could make a motion that
what your request be granted?
Right.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry. I took over. Apologize. Bad habit.
Now, then I guess we can go on to number 16.
Okay. Discuss and act on a resolution authorizing a contract for the acquisition of real property to approve a conveyance of real property to the taxing units and payment of all taxes, including delinquent tax, penalty, and interest assessed against the real property as authorized by Texas Tax Code Section 31061 to approve the private resale of the property pursuant to Texas Property Code Section 3405I and to authorize the purchase of the real property.
Mr. Godwin?
This is this is a parcel of land located on North 19th Street Southwest that we've identified as a tax resale property for delinquent taxes and other liens that have accrued on the property that we believe we can acquire for a very, very low cost. The purpose of the land acquisition is for a future replacement fire station for fire station number 3, West Side Fire Station.
Is there any discussion on this item, council members?
I'm fine with it.
All right, do we have
I'll
a
make
motion
the
to
motion.
acquire this land if possible?
I'll make the
That
motion.
stated price. That was Dr. Hushme and Ms. Lancaster.
Thank you.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And number 17, do we have any future events we need to discuss?
Yeah, there's a special council meeting for this Thursday, 12th, June 12th, scheduled. Also, just as a reminder, I sent a budget calendar out to you last week, I think, but just kind of have on your calendars in the back of your minds, if you're not available, let me know, we can move it. We've got a special meeting on June 30th, tentatively for June 30th, that's 3 weeks from tonight, Monday night, to start the budget process, planning and long-term staffing and CIP stuff. So if you're not available, let me know, and we've got plenty of time to move that around if we need to, but just, if you'll have that on your calendar, June 30th.
All right, number 18.
So moved.
Second.
I second.
Aye.